Hey everyone, in today's video we're going to be talking about the cube of a binomial. So a binomial is any expression with two terms. So for example, we have x and 7 being added together. So in this case, x plus 7 is our binomial. So the cube of a binomial is basically just taking our binomial and raising it to the power of 3. So for example, let's say we have the number 1. If we raise the number 1 to the power of 3, this is just equal to multiplying 1 3 times, and that's just going to equal 1. That's exactly the same thing we're going to be doing here. X plus 7 cubed is the same as x plus 7 times x plus 7 times x plus 7. So you're taking your binomial x plus 7 and multiplying it 3 times by itself. And your final answer, the product of these three binomials, will be your final answer. So there's two different ways to do this, the long way, and then there's also a little formula / shortcut that you can use that I'm going to go through right now. So now we're going to go through the long way of trying to do this. So we already established that x plus 7 cubed is just equal to x plus 7 times x plus 7 times x plus 7. And what we're going to do now is take the first two binomials and multiply them together, and then multiply that product by this binomial. So we're basically going to split this into two different parts. So let's take this binomial and let's multiply this together. So you have x plus 7 times x plus 7. And I will link down below my video on the square of a binomial, which is what we're doing right now over here. So you can go check that out if you want a deeper explanation of how to do this. But essentially all we're going to be doing is taking each term and multiplying it by the other one. So we're going to take this x, multiply it with this x, and multiply it by the 7. And we're going to do the same thing to the 7 over here. So we're going to multiply the 7 by this x, and the 7 to this 7 over here. So we're just going to do each 4 of these multiplications, and we're going to get our final product. So x times x will be x squared. X times 7 will be positive 7x. 7 times x is going to be another positive 7x, and 7 times 7 is going to be positive 49. So this is what we got from this first initial two binomials that we multiplied. So now let's bring down our final binomial, x plus 7, and now we're going to multiply these two together. Okay, so I just brought our final expression to the top, and now let's simplify this. We have two like terms over here, 7x and 7x. So now we're just going to add them together. So this is going to become x squared plus 14x plus 49. So if you add your 7x and your 7x, this is just going to become 14x. And then obviously this is being multiplied to x plus 7. Now we're going to do the same thing as we did before, but it's going to be slightly more complicated because we have one more number in our first expression. So let's take our x squared and multiply it with the x, and our x squared and multiply it with the 7. So we'll get x cubed, because x squared times x is just equal to x cubed. And then we'll get positive 7x squared, because we're taking this x squared and multiplying it by the 7. So now let's take this 14x and let's multiply it with the x over here and with the 7 over here. If we do 14x times x, we're going to get positive 14x squared, and 14x times 7 is going to be 98x, because 14 times 7 is just 98, and you just add on the x. Now let's do our final multiplication. So we have 49, we're going to multiply it with x, and we're also going to multiply it with 7. We will get 49x plus 49 times 7. Which is just equal to 343. So now we have our entire expression simplified, and we're just going to take like terms and add them together. So for this example, what are our like terms? We have a 7x squared here and a 14x squared here. Both of these are like terms because they both have an x squared. If you just add the numbers, you'll get 21x squared. This will just bring it down below because we do not have any other numbers with an x cubed. Next, we have these two numbers. These both just have an x attached to them. So if you do 98 plus 49, you will get 147, and you're just going to add on the x. And then let's bring this final number down because we don't have another like term, and this is going to be our final answer. X cubed plus 21x squared plus 147x plus 343. This is your final answer from our initial binomial, which was x plus 7 cubed. Now let's go look at the way to do it using a slightly different formula, and it's sort of like a different shortcut into finding the same answer. Okay, so now we're going to be looking at how to do this using the formula. So if you look over here, this is the formula. So now let's see what this means. We have x plus y cubed, which is our initial binomial that we're trying to find the cube of. And what we're going to do is we're going to take our x term, so whatever this term is, and cube it. So we're going to raise it to the power of 3. Next, we're going to do 3 times x squared, so whatever our x term was raised to the power of 2, times our value of y. Now we're going to do the same thing, and we're going to do 3 multiplied by the value of x, but this time we're going to multiply it by y raised to the power of 2. So whatever our y value is over here, we're going to raise it to the power of 2. And then finally, we're going to take our y value, raise it to the power of 3, and write it towards the end. So it's 4 different terms will be your final answer. As you can see, you have x cubed, so we're just going to take this number and cube it. And then we have this number and cube it at the end. So this is over here and this is over here. And then for your middle 2 terms, just think of it as you're multiplying 3 to x squared in one of them and then y squared in one of them. So always know that you have to multiply x and y, but for this one it's going to be x squared, and then for this one it's going to be y squared. So in our last example, this is what we found as our answer. X plus 7 cubed equals x cubed plus 21x squared plus 147x plus 343. So what we're going to do now is do that same example, except we are going to be using our formula to do it. So first, let's identify our x and y terms. So in this example, or in this binomial, our x term is just going to be x. We have the same term. But our y term in this case is positive 7. So wherever we have a y in our formula, we're going to substitute positive 7. So x is equal to x, and y is equal to positive 7. So these are the 2 numbers that we're going to substitute. So now let's substitute all of this in our formula. First, we have x cubed. So we're going to take x, which is just x in this case, and we're going to do cubed. Next, we're going to do 3 times x squared. In this case, x is just going to be x squared times y, which in this case is just 7. And then we're going to add that to 3 times x times y squared, which in this case is 7 squared. And then we're going to add all of that to 7 cubed because we're doing y cubed and 7 is our y value. So now we're going to simplify all of this. We have x cubed plus 21x squared because 3 times 7 is just 21, and you're just going to add the x squared. So now we're going to do 3 times x times 7 squared, which is going to be 3 times x times 49 because 7 times 7 is just 49, plus 343 because 7 cubed is just 343. So if we simplify all of this, we'll get x cubed plus 21x squared plus 147x because 49 times 3 is 147 plus 343. Now, as you can see, our answer that we got at the beginning matches our answer that we got using the formula. So you can use either one of these 2 methods to find the cube of a binomial. Typically, if you can understand the formula, it is much easier to simplify and directly find your answer, rather than having to split this apart into 3 different binomials and trying to multiply all of them together. But you can also do both of the processes to check if your answer is right as well.